Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be another book haul. It really is true when they say that reading and book shopping are two completely different hobbies. I happen to enjoy both. I do feel like I am pretty good about buying books that I intend to read in the near future, but I have accumulated a few books over the course of the summer that I haven't had a chance to read yet and I haven't talked about yet on my channel. So I thought it was the perfect excuse to film a book haul. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I have a little over 10 books to share with you guys today, and I'm going to talk about them in the order in which I purchased them. Starting with the very first book that I got all the way back in May. It was a new release that I pre-ordered, so I got it on release day, and that is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I loved Carly Fortune's debut, Every Summer After, that came out last year. It was one of my favorite books of 2022. So when she announced that she was releasing another book that took place over the summer at a lake setting, I was so excited to get more of the same kind of vibes. The premise of this also sounded so good. It was kind of giving me November 9th vibes because we have a couple that have an instant connection. They agree to meet up at a later date. The girl shows up, the guy does not, he ghosts her, and then they reconnect years later, and it's trying to figure out like what ended up happening and can they rebuild that spark and connection that they initially had. So I was really excited to read this one over the summer. However, when it came out in May and all the book people that I follow on social media started reading and reviewing this, I only heard negative things. I think the highest rating I saw someone give this was 3 stars, and people were just seeming not to love this one no matter how they felt about Every Summer After. So it kind of discouraged me from wanting to pick this one up because I had so many other books that I wanted to read over the summer. So now with summer dwindling down, if and when I pick this up, it won't be until next summer. So if you have read this and you did enjoy it, please convince me to read it because I was so excited for it and I was so sad to see so many negative reviews. I did see that Meghan and Harry actually picked this book up to be adapted, which seems strange to me since it got mostly negative reviews. I feel like if they start production on this soon, then that will kind of motivate me to want to read it before watching the adaptation, but we'll just have to see. The next 2 books I bought for the same exact reason. I went on a family trip to Paris back in June. So at the beginning of the summer, I was buying books that took place in France, in Paris, to give me all the French and Parisian vibes and get me even more hyped up for my trip. The first of those books that I bought is The Razor's Edge by W. Somerset Maugham, and I first heard this recommended to me by Jack Edwards, I think like a year or 2 ago, and I remember him saying that this book will make you want to go to France so badly. So I instantly knew this had to be one that I picked up for my trip. I've also heard Emma Chamberlain recommend this book as one of her favorites, so I was just really excited about it. However, when I got it and started reading it, I was surprised to find out that this book was published quite a while ago. It came out, I think, in like the 1940s, so it is quite older and it reads a lot like a classic. And not only that, but the font is like super teeny tiny. So I read like 40 to 50 pages in here, but it felt like I read like 200 pages because I had to use so much brain power and effort to understand what was going on in here. I was literally reading this book out loud to try and focus on it. At the end of every page, I would do a little mental check-in and be like, okay, this is what happened, right? This is who this person is. And I would Google to make sure I knew what was going on and everything that I thought was happening was accurate. And by the time I got to like the 50-page mark, I was exhausted. I was like, this is too much effort. I read for fun. I should not have to work this hard to understand a book. What I did understand of it, it was a good story, but I don't know. I just wanted to have more of a fun time when I was reading, especially in preparation for my trip. But maybe one day I will revisit it in the future. I was curious to know how the story was going to play out, but I just wasn't really feeling the French vibes. I feel like I have to be in a certain kind of mindset to comprehend this book. The next book I also got for my France trip is The Woman Destroyed by Simone de Beauvoir. This book actually was published in French and then translated into English. This is one of my favorite covers ever. I see it all over Bookstagram, so it might look familiar to you, but I think it is so cool and so trendy. So I was really excited for this one. And the same kind of thing happened where I got it and started reading and was surprised to find that this book is actually a bit older too. It came out, I think in like the 1980s, and it was a little bit hard to understand. It just wasn't what I was expecting at all. So after reading 5 pages, I kind of called it a day. Maybe I'll revisit it at some point, but I was just kind of expecting like cool girl energy from this. I thought it would be a lot like My Year of Rest and Relaxation, where it's all vibes and not much plot, but I think it's 3 short stories in here following 3 different French women. I don't know, it sounds like a good time, but it was one of those ones again where I had to just turn on my brain and use so much energy to try and understand what was going on, but I can see myself revisiting this again at some point. The next 2 books I panic bought are part of the Magnolia Parks universe. I bought Daisy Hates, book 2 in the series, and then Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home, book 3 in the series. I bought these when Jessa Hastings announced that she was switching up her covers because I am just obsessed with the original covers, so I was afraid they would go out of print, and I already had book 1. I found books 2 and 3. Still have not been able to find book 4, but I think Jessa Hastings released an announcement that they are going to keep making the original covers, so hopefully I can find book 4 at some point, but I was glad to at least find a couple books with the OG covers because they are just so beautiful. This is definitely a series I want to start reading soon. It's described by everyone as Gossip Girl, but set in London, so I cannot wait to jump into these books. I am planning to start this series very soon. The next book I got is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I read Part of Your World last month and absolutely loved it. This is the book that comes after Part of Your World, and I immediately bought it once I was loving Part of Your World. This book follows Bree, who was Alexis from book 1's best friend. I loved what we got of Bree in Part of Your World, so I'm really excited for her to have her own book. I know that this is a romance between her and another doctor, so it's like a workplace romance. I've heard there's really good social anxiety rep in here, which I am excited to read because I can relate to that so much, and I feel like I'm gonna really love this one even more than Part of Your World. I've heard very good things, so I will definitely be starting this one soon. On a similar note, I bought Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I read When in Rome in July, and this is the book that comes after When in Rome. However, I didn't really care for When in Rome that much, but I've kind of heard that if you like one book out of the 2, then you tend to not like the other one. So my thought process was, since I didn't like When in Rome, I'm probably gonna like this one, at least I'm hoping I am. I really want to give Sarah Adams another chance because I read The Cheat Sheet by her last year and I loved it. It was so cheesy, but in the best way. It just gave me such a serotonin boost. So that's what I'm hoping for with this book. My only hesitation is our main character in here. What we saw of her in When in Rome, she was a little bit on the juvenile side. So I'm hoping that that won't bug me too much and I'll still enjoy her book. After I bought it, I realized that she owns a flower shop and the cover is like super floral and it's giving me spring vibes. So now I'm thinking I might want to wait and read this next spring. So I'm probably going to save it for then. The next book I got, I have barely heard anyone talk about this book. I've only seen a few reviews for it on Bookstagram, but that is The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. I saw, like I said, a couple people review this on Bookstagram, and everyone that did review it gave it 5 stars and compared it to normal people. So I went on Goodreads and read the blurb, and I'm going to read you the one sentence on the inside cover that really just hooked me. It says, "A brilliantly funny novel about friends, lovers, Ireland and chaos, and a young woman desperately trying to manage all 3. Say less. Say less. I don't need to know anymore. That's all I need to know. This sounds right up my alley. It's compared to normal people. It sounds like messy relationships, and it takes place in Ireland. Sign me up. This is everything I need in a book." I also picked up The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson. This is the second book in the Truly Devious series. I read Truly Devious last fall and I really enjoyed it. It was the perfect fall vibes. I loved the setting. It takes place at a boarding school and it's a YA murder mystery. It reminded me so much of the show Wednesday, so I definitely was excited to continue on with the series, and I'm planning to read this one this fall. I am gonna have to read the last few chapters again in Truly Devious because I kind of forgot how that one ended, but I'm really excited to continue on with the series. The way I feel about the Truly Devious series so far, I feel is the same way most people feel about A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That series didn't work as much for me, but I'm loving this one so much, so I feel like Truly Devious is my YA murder mystery series that I love. Another book I'm planning to read this fall is Ace of Spades. This is a dark academia. I believe it's about 2 academic rivals that are kind of battling it out to be valedictorian, and then there's someone at their school that's releasing all this blackmail on them to try and sabotage their reputations. We're trying to figure out who this anonymous person is. I've heard this is a really great dark academia with social commentary on race, so I'm really excited to read this one in the next couple months. And last but certainly not least, after many attempts at trying to get this book, I finally have it in my hands. That is none other than Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I feel like I don't even need to say anything. I feel like I can just hold this book up. It kind of speaks for itself. This book has been taking the book world by storm. I feel like everyone and their mother is loving and reading this book. It's been compared to Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, Divergent, Game of Thrones. It's a fantasy romance, and I just cannot wait to read it. I'm so excited. I'm a little scared because a lot of times when a book has so much hype, I'm like, what if I'm the only one that doesn't like it? But I just have a good feeling about it. I feel like I'm gonna love it based on what it's compared to. So definitely planning to read it soon. I kind of want to include it in a reading vlog somehow. I don't know if I should dedicate a whole video to just this book or what I'm gonna do, but definitely stay tuned for my thoughts. And those are all the books that I've picked up this summer and have not yet had a chance to read and talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this book haul. Let me know which of these books you read yourself and if you think I should prioritize any of them. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button to stick around to my channel so you don't miss any future book videos from me. And I will see you guys so soon in my next video. Bye guys.